Welcome to Mirror Domains Movie News, your place for entertainment headlines. And indeed, this is a live news show for movie fans where we talk about all the trending movie news headlines of the day, including Killers of the Flower Moon. It arrives in theaters today, guys. Are you going to go out and see it this weekend? Martin Scorsese, he's back with Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, Lily Gladstone. Is it a success? I don't know. We'll talk about that. Christopher Nolan talks about Taylor Swift. The Marvel's projected opening is not as high as some people think it's going to be. I don't know. Deadpool 3 gets delayed. Loki Season 2. Beverly Hills Cop 4. Yeah, what was going on with that movie? Wasn't that supposed to happen? We'll talk about that. But we are going to start off today's show by talking about Killers of the Flower Moon and my review that will be chopped out of this when I am done setting things up here. Okay, so let's just make sure that everything is rocking and rolling. Sorry guys, I thought that I had everything set up, but I want to make sure that I got all the materials that I want for this review. Okay, I think we're ready to rock and roll. Yeah, we're ready. Ready? Killers of the Flower Moon is directed by... Sorry. Oh, mercy. Killers of the Flower Moon is directed by Martin Scorsese. I am a Native American, and I've got my thoughts about this movie. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro, Lily Gladstone, and the synopsis reads, members of the Osage tribe in the United States are murdered under mysterious circumstances in the 1920s, sparking a major FBI investigation involving J. Edgar Hoover. You're bringing up J. Edgar Hoover's name here, and I think he's only mentioned once in the movie. Guys, this is what you need to know straight up off the bat. If you are a Martin Scorsese fan, then you probably will end up liking this, regardless of what anybody says about this. The movie is long, and you've heard that by people countless times now. It's 3 hours and 26 minutes. When all the trailers are said and done, you're going to be in the theater for about 3 hours and 45 minutes. Do you feel that runtime? Yes, you do. I checked my watch a couple times. If you get up and refill your popcorn or your drink halfway through, you're not going to lose that much. My advice, my straight out of the theater reaction to this was that this is going to be streaming on, what was it, Apple TV Plus or something in a couple weeks. Wait for it there. It's not one of Scorsese's better films. But James, you just didn't understand it. You don't understand Scorsese. It's like, as I said, if you are a Scorsese fan and you're going to like it regardless of what anybody says. So if you are here to bash criticism, then this may not be the review for you. Standouts are the acting. Yes, Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and Lily Gladstone are good. Everybody seems to be praising Lily Gladstone. And she's good. There she is right there. She's good. But is there a scene in it that makes me go, well, that's Oscar worthy? Is there a scene in it from Leo? Or Robert De Niro, I could say yes, he had a couple of scenes in there where it was worthwhile. Jesse Plemons, this is what it was the cast around the main cast that was really good, like Jesse Plemons coming in as the FBI guy. He had like a reserved quality about him, but he was smart, and he conveyed that he was being smart and perceptive about all of, like, you're really lying to me while you're getting the shave here, aren't you? You're just straw-manning me here, right? And there's something about Jesse Plemons that he was able to pull that off. I said costuming was good in this. It had all the ingredients of what people describe as an epic movie. But I'm kind of like, Is it one of the better movies of the year? I saw somebody trying to compare this to Oppenheimer. No, when you come out of Oppenheimer, you are just like, holy God. You guys, you got to go check this out. I know it's about nuclear fission or something like that, but and Christopher Nolan really brings it home. You're not going to be that way about Martin Scorsese and Killers of the Flower Moon. Let's address a little bit of the elephant in the room here. That I, yes, am Native American myself, and the story is that the Osage tribe gets oil money, and then, like, obviously, you know that Robert De Niro is there to undermine them and weasel the money out of them. So he gets people to marry the women, and then he kills off the women. So, yeah, you would expect it to be dark. You do get to see us getting killed, but it doesn't leave you with that raw kind of like gross feeling that, say, perhaps um, you would get from like Wolf of Wall Street, or even like the grittiness of what There Will Be Blood was about. Like, you know, that hard, grittiness from it. It just, for me, it just wasn't there. It was, and then I've heard other people trying to articulate this too. Like, it didn't have that edge to it. Things happened. Obviously, you don't root for Leonardo DiCaprio in this. He's the bad guy, and everybody's saying that she's got a great performance in this. And I would say temper your expectations of this, because she doesn't really do that much other than just kind of stand there at times. So, the supporting cast, this guy here, who gets hired to do one of the killings, it has so much character, and it's, as I said, it's a cast around the main cast that really stands out in this film. Did I hate this film? No. Did I like this film? Yes. I like this film. Is it one of the better films of the year? No, it is not. It is not an outstanding film. It's not even a great Scorsese film. That's the way I feel about it. And I know that will rub a lot of people the wrong way, because it's Scorsese. You got to bend the knee, James. You got to bend the knee. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not going to. Let's start to fill in this score sheet here, because, as I said, the acting in this, I already gave it for Lily Gladstone. There's your 1 point for Lily Gladstone. And Martin Scorsese did bring in the team of Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, and they're good. They're good. But as I said, it's a supporting cast around everybody else that is fantastic. So I got to give full 2 points for acting. Acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points each. The story is an important story. Like, people, like, when you hear epic, oh, it's got to be an important story. You got to go and check this out because it's saying something dramatic. If you don't know anything about history, yes, we were killed, and we still are not being treated all the greatest, especially when it comes to pipelines. It was an atrocity. As a Native American sitting in the theater watching it, it's kind of like, yeah, I know that. Was it conveyed in such a way that generated any sympathy for the situation? Do we want sympathy? But James, you're not Osage. Well, there's so few of us left that it's kind of like when we see other tribes and nations, we call them nations, sympathies go out, right? Yeah, acting was brought around. I'm trying to articulate the execution of the story here from the directing. Obviously, it's Scorsese, so somebody said it best. Even when Scorsese's the weakest, at his weakest, it's like the amateur's best. It was a competently made film. Technically, it was a technically well shot film. But there's elements with the story that really had some serious issues. And I'll try to describe this and articulate this right now. he'll show a quick cut of something, of a character, of a dead character, and you'll be like, wait a minute, who was that? And then it'll cut back to something else, and it'll be like, that's some weird editing. I needed to see clearly who that character was back there, because I need to understand what's happening now. Oh, that's what's happening now. But it was so, and then it happens so many times in this movie where it's kind of like, I need to digest exactly what you just showed me, instead of just with these quick cuts, right? Very, very distracting editing in this movie. Yeah. And here's the other thing too. The third act, if you could even say that it has a normal 3-act structure, I don't think it does. You expect a big payoff. You expect to see people get their comeuppance, and things don't pay off. There's an artistic way that Scorsese tries to give you the information in the end as to what happens. But if you're expecting the good guys to capture the bad guys and bring down the hammer, then you're not going to, I'm sorry if this is a spoiler, but you're not going to see that in this movie. And I guess that's sort of like the tragedy to it all. But you remember that line in Oppenheimer where it was kind of like breaking the fourth wall. It's like, was anybody going to tell the truth as to what happened here? You expected a moment like that in this movie, and you never really got that. You just kind of assumed that this was supposed to be like, well, a revelation that these people came in and did terrible things to the Osage. And they did. So if you expect justice, yeah, that's not what happens to it's not what happened to us, really. Was it a visceral, horrifying thing for me to watch? At times, murder is murder. Yes, it's a tough thing. But as I said, Jesse Plemons in here, once he comes on screen, which it takes 2 hours plus minutes to get to him and hit that part of the storyline, it's the execution of the story. It didn't need to be this long. The movie suffers because of that length. And right now, I can't give much more points to directing or story. I may change that in a little bit. Cinematography and score are out of possible 1 point each. Cinematography, everything looked great. Everything looked fantastic. Was it mesmerizing cinematography? It served the movie. It's not like The Creator. The Creator had so many stunning visuals that you're just like, wow. Of course, if you put a big wide-angle lens out in the prairie or in the meadow with flowers all around, it's going to look fantastic. That's standard. That's something that you see. As I said, the technical aspects of this film are competently done. It's just not, it's not wow. So I can't give cinematography that much more points. Score, I saw this in the pseudo IMAX theater. So pseudo IMAX, I don't know why they call it IMAX. It's not an IMAX screen, it's IMAX sound. The sound was good in that theater because it was an IMAX theater. But when most people are going to be watching this movie on their phone, are you going to really notice the soundtrack for this? I don't think so. I do not think so. So I'll stay at the 5 out of 10 for right now, but we'll talk about watchability factors, and we may bump it around just a bit when we conclude my review here. I really want to finish spitting out what I have to say about this movie, because this is the type of movie where, because it's Scorsese, people are going to be jumping on, oh, it's got to be Best Picture. Oh, it's got to be Best Actor. Oh, it's got to be Best Cinematography. It's got to be all this kind of stuff. And it's like, guys, whoa, easy now. Let's just take a break and step back. One criticism I saw this morning was that it was kind of like, well, it's Scorsese, and sometimes it takes 2 or 3 viewings for you to fully grasp and understand the story. Well, if you say that, then by definition, it wasn't a very well executed story. But I appreciated it on the 5th viewing. Do you hear what you're saying? Do you understand what you're saying when you say that? Um, let's go over to the tomato meter and see what people are saying. Critics, 93%, 224 reviews. And this is also because it's Scorsese. A lot of critics are going to be coming out and not wanting to say what I'm saying here in this review about the quality of the story, about the execution of the story, about the editing style. They're probably not going to say that because there's going to be a consensus of, well, it's Scorsese, it's got to be Best Picture just because it's Scorsese. He's putting out a movie, it's automatically got to be Best Picture. And I'm here to say that it's not, guys. All right. Sorry to get a little bit heated there, but let's just see what people are saying here. It's okay to be different and to say different, have different opinions about movies. Detroit News says, nothing about Killers of the Flower Moon is small, yet for all its massiveness, its effect is grounded local, and that's a testament to its ability to crawl underneath your skin. Yeah, if you are new to understanding how the Western culture rolled over us, if you never knew that, then yeah, that learning that part for the first time, if you never knew that, would be devastating. I would understand that, but from my point of view, guys, it was nice to see them talk about blood percentages, about the bloodlines getting watered down and stuff. Um, that's topical for us. Losing language. The best thing for me that I got out of this was that because of all the murders and stuff, there's like funeral rites performed by their medicine man, holy man is what we. Um, and I was looking at him and I was like, yeah, that reminded me that there was knowledge that was handed down, you know, through um, the culture. Like that information was handed down and gifted to the next person who was uh, found out. They're like, oh, that guy's, look at what that guy's doing. We're going to teach him how to do all these rituals and stuff like that. And there was, I appreciated seeing that stuff. But as far as like making a statement politically and stuff, there's a point in this movie when they get to the trial part where you're like, oh, right, I forgot. I forgot that John Lithgow and Brendan Fraser are in this movie. I forgot that all these stars are making their cameos in this movie, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, now we're going back to Hollywood, and it kind of undermines what Scorsese was trying to do by trying to bring heist to the story. For me, it did. For me, it did. As I said, is it worth checking out? Yes, it's totally worth checking out. But let's see what some of the negative reviews are saying. See if I agree with what they're saying. Wall Street Journal, with its plotting story, it's lambs versus wolves character and its predictable beats. It is predictable as to exactly how it's going to go. It's just when you think that it's going to have its big payoffs, they fizzle out. Flower Moon plays like work of much less sophisticated filmmaker. He's talking about the story execution there, yeah. There's a difference between long and epic, although in movie terms, the two frequently get confused. Yes, they do. Long doesn't necessarily mean epic. Martin Scorsese delivers the former, but not the latter, with the Killers of the Flower Moon. It's not, yeah, okay. Here's what I'll say about the length. I was worried that I would come out of this movie saying that this movie didn't earn the 3 hours and 26 minutes. I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that kind of grotesque. This should not be 2 hours. This should never have been 3 hours. I don't feel that visceral reaction to it. Could this have been told in a shorter amount of time? Yes, because there's redundant things that happen in the storyline where we know that the women in the families get killed off. Do we have to go through that same cycle of Leonardo DiCaprio coming in? Oh, I didn't know that that was going to happen to the wife. How many times does that happen in the movie? Okay, we get it as a story unfolding. As an audience, we understand that this is something that's going to happen. So you do it to us once. Okay, now you're doing it the second time, three times. Oh wait, how far are we into this movie? Oh, 2 hours already. And then it's a bit like that. It's long. And as I said, guys, I didn't hate this movie. I liked this movie. I just didn't think that this was top quality material here. Um, as far as Leonardo DiCaprio too, some people said there's one scene in here where he learns about one of the deaths and he finally has a reaction to it. But it's kind of like you're just saying that because you're a parent that you don't. He's a bad dude. He's a bad man. Um, what do you expect? Um, there's no scene in this. Let's say it like this. There's no scene in this like in Wolf of Wall Street where he's like yelling into the microphone and going, "Wow, he's really going crazy here." That's good acting. There's no scene like that. He's just overall cumulatively put in a good performance, a solid performance of what this movie needed from him. There's nothing in here that makes me say that's best actor material. There's nothing in here that is like The Revenant, or even as I thought of throughout the entire movie. Where's the like? You just don't have that gritty, like Shutter Island version of Leo where you get to see like that range of stuff. It's just him talking like this and doing things like oh my oh ooh yeah whatever. It's like epic, epic. You think of like There Will Be Blood. You think of Casino. You think of Goodfellas. You think of Gladiator, Avatar. As much as you, it's a theatrical experience. You need to go see it because it is epic. Killers of the Flower Moon is not epic in my estimations. It's just a quality film that's out there. So let's try to wrap up my score sheet. Is it worth watching at least once? Yes, it is worth watching at least once. I It has a good premise, yes. I don't think that you need to go to the theater to see this movie. It's not a. Uh, I don't think that you need to. I wait for streaming. That's what I would say. Now, because of the performances, because it's Scorsese, I would say it is worth a second look. Because of all the background characters. Um, does Scorsese try to do different things with this? Yes, he does. Especially the final act, the final 5 minutes. You'll be like, the final 5 minutes is so jarring. You're like, wait a minute, what the heck is happening here? Oh, now you're trying to be artistic. In the last 5 hours of this, 5 minutes of this 3.5 an hour film, at 3 hours and 25 minutes, you're trying to be artistic now. Okay. There's, as I said, there's the ingredients, and I'm going to be a little bit more generous to the directing here because of that. Not 1.3, James, 1.5, because I work in increments of 1.5. That's what I'll say. 7 out of 10 for Killers of the Flower Moon. That's the way that I am feeling about it. Is it one of the better movies of October? No, it's not. uh, it, guys, I'll tell you this straight up. I've seen two movies that are better. Reptile on Netflix was a better movie with Benicio del Toro. Um, and I know people didn't like that one because that one was uh, a slow burn. That was a crime thriller. People didn't like that. But I thought about Reptile like a day and a half after I watched it because I thought about the performances from Benicio del Toro and Alicia Silverstone. I I I I've, I thought about those performances. They were haunting to me. Did I feel that about Killers of the Flower Moon? Um, Robert De Niro was good in it, but it's like I've watched it. I'm done with it. I don't need to revisit it. Some live comments here are saying, um, so is Leonardo more of a supporting actor rather than a standout lead? No, he's the lead. Um, Scorsese needs to retire. Bifer says no, he doesn't need. He's 80. He says he's still got a few more in him. It's this movie just, as I said, I liked this movie. It's just not his greatest work. It's softball. It's not as hard hitting as say Wolf of Wall Street. It's not. Leo lost his charisma. No, he still has his charisma. As I said, he brings in a solid performance of what this movie needed from him. Uh, finally, uh, finally, Killer better at the Flower Moon. I don't know. Finally, Killer. I don't know what you're trying to say there, Bifer. Um, Totally Killer is a better movie than Killers of the Flower Moon, and I know that what is it? Totally Killer. Yeah, that is a better movie. Um, I had I wanted to tell people that about that movie coming out because it was just like wow, that was a great experience. Killers of the Flower Moon. If I'm going to try to be generous, maybe yes, maybe it will take a few go arounds for me to digest it, but I got to call it as it is, 7 out of 10. Um, and as I said, the surrounding cast is the standout for me. People will say Lily Gladstone's got to be best actor, best actress. Okay, the cool, fine that she. I'll be fine, okay. But as I said, what okay? What scene are you going to put for her? When she finds out that another one of her sisters are dead, that you don't really like or get to learn about her sisters all that much. So it's when you see her react to it, which they show in one of the trailers, when Leo's kind of like to her, and then she breaks down crying. I wanted to feel like her. I was hoping that Scorsese would have built my feelings so that when I see that scene, I'll feel like just like her that my guts are being ripped out. But you never feel in this movie that your guts are being ripped out. And there's a much more curious storyline going on in the background that they hint at with Robert De Niro's character being a mason and um, how he's got responsibilities to the masonry, the stonemasons and stuff like that, that kind of stuff, like the secret society that's behind everything, that's trying to control everything. There was a much more sinister angle there that they had introduced. There was that ingredient. It just didn't come around, and that's the director's. That falls on the director. That falls on Scorsese. I wanted to see like him maybe interact with another member of that council that would be like, you better get your affairs in order here. And then that's why he's coming down on um, Leo and stuff. And we see him coming down on Leo and stuff. But I just would have preferred to have seen something more uh, behind that. That's just maybe my minor little things. But as I said, Jesse Plemons in this was good. Um, so go see it because of Jesse Plemons. And I do want to give a shout out to one more character that does show up in this, played by Ty Mitchell. As I said, it's the surrounding cast. You'll find that these characters have much more on-screen charisma, where you're just like, I want to see more from that dude. I want to see more from him, and you do. You do see a little bit more from him. So it's kind of like he was a standout in the film for me. Ty Mitchell. Who else? One of the investigators. who joined Jesse Plemons' team to talk means. Yeah, he stood out. Like the way that people are talking about Lily Gladstone standing out. No, when Tatanka comes on, you'll be like, "Who's that guy? I want to see more about him." He's one of the investigators, and it's just like cool. And Scorsese, that's why I bumped up the directing. He recognized that, and he gave them a little bit of time to showcase. So that's why I bumped up the directing on the score sheet. But can I squeeze out any more of? I can maybe give it to cinematography, and you would get 7.5. I can maybe do that, right? Cinematography, 7.5. That's about the way that I feel, guys. Yeah, and I had to struggle to get to that 7.5. So that's the way I feel about the movie, guys. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments below. If you've went out and seen it, does it warrant seeing it in the theater? If you are a fellow Native American, what should you think about our representation? I'm curious about that as well. It's come. It's going to go. It's going to have to go through a ride of the gratuitous. It's Scorsese. It's awards worthy. It'll go through that cycle, and then in a couple of years, nobody's going to talk about it. All right, that's it. Guys, if you like what you've seen, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. There are my other social media handles. I'm not going to talk about spoilers. There's really not anything spoilery to talk about this kind of thing. What else can you find here on the channel? Well, on top of my review there, we watched a full series of The Fall of House of Usher from episode 1 to episode 8. Great series. Great acting and great directing and execution of story right there from Mike Flanagan. Great series. Still thinking about it. We're watching episodes of Survivor and Hell's Kitchen, guys, on the channel Thursdays and Fridays. Come join us for that. We have lots of fun with that. And of course, as I said earlier, my review for Totally Killer is up on the channel. It's still, I think that's my #1 movie of October right now, guys. It still is. Reviews for Exorcist Believer and Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. And of course, we do movie news here 2 or 3 times a week, where we talk about all the trending movie news headlines of the day. Movies, movies, movies. And if that's your bag, come talk with us. And if you disagree with what I've said in this review, I want to hear from you too. All right. Hit that thumbs up. I'll see you next time. You're watching Mirror Domains. Yeah, it's going to be hard. This is the type of movie where I try to reiterate. I said I liked it. I liked it. Is it one of the better films of the year? No. It's not. Is he Leo a supporting actor? No, he's the main character. And they do a scene in the beginning where they establish he's not a good dude. I would have liked to have seen him come to an understanding that he wasn't a good dude. They hinted at that he went to war and he saw terrible things, and that maybe shell shocked him or gave him, apathy, like not apathy, like lack of empathy to everything, right? It's just kind of like, yeah, they're Indian, kill them. Yeah, that's my car. Steal it so we can get the write off on it, kind of thing. And it's kind of like, yeah, you don't really. It doesn't come around full circle, and that's on Scorsese. I will say this spoilery: the radio show ending. It would have been nice if you teed up and put that forecasted that a little bit better towards the end. It's almost as if they ran out of money. Yeah, you ever watch that movie, that horror movie? What was it, The Devil's Due, where they ran out of money in the third act, and It's kind of like, well, we don't have enough money to film this. It's almost as if they ran out of, well, the movie's 3 hours and 33 minutes now, Martin. We still got about half an hour of story to tell. We'll just put it in a radio show without any footage. People like that. I'm Martin Scorsese. I'm artistic. It's like, oh, Jesus. Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You don't see the bad guy get his comeuppance. You know. Yeah. Check out if you were the last 2023 Mad Funny Bifer says in live chat. All right, guys, let's get back into some of these movie news headlines. So we got to go full throttle here. So, Killers of the Flower Moon is opening up this weekend, and it's going to be running into the wall known as Tay Taylor Swift Eras Tour second round, round 2. Now that movie is 2 hours and 49 minutes. But Killers of the Flower Moon is 3 hours and 26 minutes. So you're competing with two big movies here. And because of the length, they're not able to show as many times in the theater. God, if you go to the 9:15 show, you're not going to be getting out until like 1 a.m. That's just, like, think about it, guys. Think about it. For God's sakes. I think that Taylor's going to blow it out of the water. Because the thing is that you've also got the, like, it's going to be on Apple TV Plus in a couple of weeks. So go wait for Killers of the Flower Moon for streaming. Ganapath Sport Hindi. Is that opening up this week? That sounds interesting. Who's in that? A dystopian future Ganapath, a relentless and skilled vigilante, embarks on a mission to dismantle a powerful criminal empire that has gripped the city in fear. Ganapath becomes a symbol for hope of the oppressed in which he leads the dark. Maybe I'll go check this one out. I saw, Bifer says he saw it and it's terrible. Okay, so maybe I won't go check that out. Watch Leo in theaters instead. Watch Leo. Do I have access to that? Yeah, I saw that. Who is that guy? That Sean Chandler. He saw that, right? And I saw that he posted a review for that. Under the Light Mandarin, Kanur Squad, Malayalam, Mission Ranaganj. Oh yeah, that's that one where they say from the caves, right? Let's see if I got it from Watch Leo here. Nightmare on Elm Street, horror re-release. Maybe I'll go see that. Say hello to my friend Fred Krueger. Dumb Money is still playing. Haunting in Venice. Casper. What the heck is Nightmare Before Christmas doing? Oh, I guess because of Halloween, I suppose. No, I don't have a listing here for Watch Leo. Bummer. That's the only thing that's playing near me. This is the forecast from last week, guys. So let's just say that Taylor Swift gets bumped down to 45 million. Let's chop it right in half. 50% loss. Actually, I think it's probably going to be steeper than that. I think it's going to get chopped down to about 30 million. I could be wrong. Could Killers of the Flower Moon beat that? Yes, if it's 30 million. I don't know. Because of the amounts of shows that it can be showing and the subject matter. People coming out and saying that. I think it'll go Taylor Swift number 1. I think it'll go Killers of the Flower Moon number 2. For God's sake, stop watching Exorcist Believer, people. It's a terrible movie. 10 million. Yeah, I'll go Exorcist. No, I hope Paw Patrol's number 3. Exorcist Believer goes down to number 4. And then Saw 10, number 5. Saw 10 is the better horror movie. Go see Saw 10 if you haven't seen it, for God's sakes. All right. We got to burn through some of these stories because it's we're running behind. Yesterday, we briefly talked about this, so let's talk about it a little bit more. Christopher Nolan says Hollywood studios missed out by not releasing Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. Yeah, when I said this yesterday, that she just financed them, shooting it herself and putting it out in theaters herself, dictated what the prices were. That, yeah, that's a smart move. Hey, if you don't need to shop into Hollywood, why would you need to do that? And I praise Nolan for being observant of this. He's a student of film. He studies the marketplace. He knows this kind of stuff. And that's cool that he caught that eye. That'd be cool if he worked with Taylor Swift. Imagine if, like, Taylor's going to direct a movie of her own. And imagine if she got, like, mentored by Christopher Nolan to direct. Like, that's why I think she worked with, what was it, in Amsterdam, right? And she's worked with high-end directors. Who was Sean Levy was in her short film. Sean Levy's doing Deadpool 3 and the Adam Project and stuff like that, right? So she's surrounded herself with these people. It would be nice if she surrounded herself with, like, under the tutelage of Christopher Nolan. But that would be awesome. But anyway, that's just a fantasy of mine. Nolan spoke alongside producer Emma Thomas about having studios have been too skittish about releasing movies in the streaming era. Quote, Taylor Swift is about to show the studios because of her concert film is not being distributed by the studios. It's being distributed by a theater owner, AMC, and it's going to make an enormous amount of money. And this is the thing. This is a format. This is a way of seeing things and sharing stories and sharing experiences that's valuable. And if they don't want it, somebody else will. So that's just the truth of it. Yeah. At anytime a film succeeds that isn't expected to succeed, it is an enormous, encouraging thing for Hollywood. It's encouraging for filmmakers, Nolan explained. There's always the tension in Hollywood between the familiar and what is predicted to make money. And that's the meat and potatoes of how studios stay in business. But there's always this desire among audiences for something new, something fresh, rather than this same old MCU studio tripe that gets churned out like a machine. Oh, we got to have the same story beats of it's got to be funny like this. The bad guy's got to be comical like this. We've got to have Chris Hemsworth doing the splits here. And it's like, for God's sakes, no, we don't have to be doing that, do we? Do we have to be doing that? I don't know. Sorry if I just cracked this fresh Coke open. People want to see just a little bit different things. But he added, at any time a film that isn't expected to succeed, and we vastly exceeded our highest expectations for the project, it's encouraging for everyone. So, yeah, encouraging for everyone. Good stuff. Next, the Marvels. Yeah, talking about that machine, the Hollywood making machine. Next on the MCU, November 10th is the Marvels, and it's tracking for a 75 to 80 million domestic opening. Oh, right. Next week, we are starting up Grumpy Man Reacts episodes, watch-alongs for Miss Marvel as we lead up to the Marvels. So come join us next week for that. We'll be watching Miss Marvel, which reminds me, I was going to cancel my Disney Plus. Maybe we need to watch it all next week. Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it's tracking for 75 to 80 million domestic debut, the latest test in superhero fatigue. The sequel looks to come in notably behind the 153 million opening for Captain Marvel. They played the trailer for the Marvels. I liked the first trailer. The second trailer was, I don't know what the heck that was. Or was it one of the trailers plays better than the other one? And then you hear reports that, who is it? Brie Larson has become somewhat disenchanted with it because she doesn't like the criticism, the constant barrage of people saying that it sucks when yeah, she's getting tired of it. So I think that Brie Larson will probably step away from it. If this movie doesn't do well, I think that'll give her enough excuse to say, yeah, Captain Marvel isn't working. Just then kill off Captain Marvel and have rogue absorber powers. That's what people want to see happen. That's what people want to see happen. What the heck is this commercial? Oh, mercy. I'm guys, I'm prepared for this. If the Marvels comes out and it bombs in horrible fashion, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to be shocked. If it does well, good. I hope that I come out of the Marvels saying that was actually surprisingly good. I'm shocked. Uh, I'm pleasantly surprised that the Marvels was actually pretty good. That's what I want to be feeling, right? But if it, I don't even know if it's going to make 75 million, guys. I think it's going to struggle to make even 50 because people are just fatigued with it. They're overall fatigued, and we're going to talk about that when we get to Loki as well. They're just bored of it. We're of the same schlock. It used to be a shtick. Shtick, I usually say, is a funny kind of thing that people that happens. But when a shtick runs out, then it becomes schlock. It's kind of like, oh yeah, those are the same beats. Yep, that's the same MCU beat. The funny, the funny sidekick, the whimsical humor of that's the same. That's MCU. Oh, Marvel's is done. Okay, fine. Let's move on. That's what people will be like, and I'm expecting that. But yeah, we'll have to see. Oh, I forgot about this story. I'm gonna have to move this to hit or miss. That's the story I want to talk about. Deadpool 3 loses its May release date. Strikes continue to affect 2024 theatrical release. Now, there are talks about the strike getting supposedly settled. George Clooney had put up a proposal to try to get that thing off the ground and get people back to work. But was it Fran Drescher said, no, that's not happening. So, yeah, Deadpool being pushed. Now, I've seen people say that it's been pushed off indefinitely. I wouldn't go that far. I would say maybe a couple weeks, hopefully a month, a couple months at the latest. This is saying here it was supposed to open July 26th. It could move to November. I don't know. Because they were in the midst of shooting it. I don't think they were quite done shooting it, so they would still have to do a lot of work on it. But I'm looking forward to it because it's Sean Levy working with Ryan Reynolds, who's they've done great things. Free Guy, The Adam Project, and Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine. So this is the movie that everybody wants to see, man. We'll wait. This is one where okay, you're pushing it, fine. We'll wait for it because we know that when you deliver it, it should be good. That people will still have enough, any despite the comic book fatigue that may come with the Marvels, Aquaman, uh, Thunderbolts, or whatever they're coming up with, um, Captain America 4. Um, Despite all that fatigue, people will still come out for Deadpool 3. And a lot of it has to do with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. People will, I will. I will. So that's why we'll see. We'll see. When we get a confirmed release date, hopefully we'll come back to that for sure. Um, whoops. Argyle says, binging Miss Marvel, all being front and center. Your reactions are priceless. Well, thank you. Yeah, we might have to binge that because I think if I cancel it, my Disney Plus, it'll end at the end of October, so we won't have that leeway of working up to it before the release. Um, yeah, because I want to sign up for Apple TV Plus so we can watch Godzilla next month. And I'm looking forward to that. At least the Monarch series, at least. Biver says Brie Larson might step away like Emma Watson. Yeah, Brie Larson's a good actress, though. She is. She is. So hopefully she'll come back to that. Whistle, Dafne Keen, guys. We were going to talk about these trailers and stuff. Uh, Dafne Keen, Sophie Nélisse star in Corin Hardy horror film. Well, I do like horror. What's this about? Uh, okay, latest horror film. The Hollow and the Nun director Colin Hardy. Filming is set to begin in Ontario, Canada, first week in November. Cool. It says this is a Canada Ireland co production governed by, okay, it won't be impacted by the Screen Actors strike. Wait, so you can still work here in Canada? Huh. What's it about? Synopsis reads a misfit group of unwitting high school students stumble upon a cursed object, an ancient Aztec death whistle. They discover that blowing the whistle, just blow on it. Come on. Uh, uh, discover that blowing the whistle and the terrifying sound it emits will summon their future deaths to hunt them down. Hey, that sounds. What was that one with? It was like a box that grants wishes. Uh, yeah, that sounds a little bit like that. As the body count rises, the friends investigate the origins of their deadly artifact in a desperate effort to stop horrifying chain events they have set in motion. Rebel Moon, yeah. So Daphne Keene's going to be in this. Good actress. If you guys liked, yes, she was the best part of Logan for me at least. Um, Wish Upon was it Wish Upon that I'm thinking of? Yeah, with Joey King. That's the one where they get this box and it's like if you make a wish, then like the bad thing happens as an equal where it ends up killing one of them. If you make a wish, then you just signed your own death warrant. That sounds a little bit vaguely like that, doesn't it? What was the synopsis of that? Um, Joey King. Yeah, she was good in this. Was a teenage girl discovers a box that carries magic powers and a deadly price for using them. Yes, that's exactly what whistle sounds like. Just blow on it. Come on, it'll 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 grant your wishes. Blow. Oh God, I'm losing it. What the heck am I doing here? Hey, they wrote it, not me. I'm just trying to convey what the story is about. Well, it sounds like it's of the makings of a horror, right? A device that grants wishes or you know brings you to a horrible demise. Corin Hardy did the first Nun movie, which I still need to edit and put up on the channel. Daphne Keene, interesting work. Let's talk about Beverly Hills Cop 4. What the heck is going on? I do remember talking about this like years ago. What happened to it? Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley was what it was going to be called, right? Yeah, what happened to that? Was it going to be turned into a series? Returned to the series, yeah. But what happened to it? Uh, so at long last, he was going to return. And yeah, that's right. They were going to bring back a lot of the cast, right? Who's making it? Bill Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley. Will Beal, and who wrote Gangster Squad and Aquaman. Okay. The film is being directed by Mark Malloy, a famed commercial director who is making his directorial debut. Well, that doesn't bode well. Um, yeah, that doesn't. Oof. Ah, here's the thing about Eddie Murphy. He's, I think he's run his course, man. He's run his course. He's tried to do projects here in the background and stuff. You People was on Netflix this year. A hopeful return to comedy for him, and it was terrible. He wasn't funny in it. Um, he's just lost his mojo, and to see him step back into uh, people liked the Beverly Hills Cop movie. I think you just need to put that one up on the shelf and say, let's not do it, guys. I do remember talking about the stories of the cast members coming back, and I thought that this guy, had passed on, but it was brought to my attention I think it was Arglass that even said that. No, he's still kicking around. I remember talking about it, but what the? Um, I don't really care about the music. How popular are they? I think if you did something for streaming, it could work. But you got to keep the budget small, keep the story small, keep it small and confined, like the first movie was. A cop out of his element, trying to not step on the feet of another department, trying to solve a case. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. We'll see if that ever comes into fruition. Probably not, though. I should have put this Loki story beside the Marvels. I don't know what I was thinking. Loki director Dan DeLuey didn't want to get bored after Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. The visual effects veteran talks jumping into the director's chair. Um, I am bored. I'm bored of the MCU. Because I was one of the few people that gave Secret Invasion a chance, and I actually liked it for the most part, except for the end. I liked, I really had lots of fun with She Hulk. And as much as people didn't like it because it was too comical, I want to see them go more into that direction with the She Hulk character. Um, you guys know how I feel about Loki, though. I want Loki to be. I wanted the series to be about him accepting his death and accepting all the wrongs for what he has done in his life. A character study, and it turned out that that's not the direction they were going. And it seems more and more that they are going to direct Loki back to retconning his death in Endgame so that Loki and Thor can continue to have movies made about them. Because Tom Hiddleston is the draw. And that's not what I want to see, but that's what lots of people want to see. So we'll have to see how that turns out. Yeah. Are we almost through? No. Rolling Stone. What the heck is this? Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones rock on stage with Lady Gaga. Cool. As Chris Rock, Daniel Craig, and Mary Kate Olsen cheer on. What the heck was going on here? The rock icon celebrated the release of their new album. They have a new album? Hackney Diamonds at a small club in New York City. Rolling Stones still cut an album? My God. How the hell is Keith Richards still alive? That guy, he's immune to father time, isn't he? Well, the Piper hasn't come calling yet. Uh, Mick Jagger's like in his 80s too still. Like they're both way up there. And I know Mick Jagger still he keeps himself in top form. But my God. Have you guys listened to any cuts from this album? I'd be interested to hear the one with Lady Gaga on it. Huh. I don't know. When you're 80, do your fingers still work? I mean, I'm in my 40s, and sometimes my fingers still are get to the point where they're not doing what I want them to do. They just, I don't know. Well, I guess if you're just doing power chords or the basic chords, maybe you could get away with still playing guitar. But coming up with complicated licks, I don't know. I should check it out. Uh, you like Moon Knight too? Oh yeah, I like Moon Knight. Loki died so many times already. Bringing him back is nothing new. Jonathan Majors appears to be innocent. I hope he's back soon. The Piper must be a Stones fan, but they lost their drummer recently. Oh, did they? Um, oh, yeah, I'm curious about the album for sure. I mean, they are icons. What is your favorite Rolling Stones? I think everybody, um, Satisfaction, Start Me Up. I think because I'm a fan of the Tea Party and uh, the that kind of a sound twang. A lot of people will say painted black, right? I think Start Me Up is probably my favorite. Yeah. Give Me Shelter is a great Stone song, Hourglass says. Yeah, don't get me wrong, they're great. It's just wow. New album, huh? But check it out. All right. Guys, we are running a little bit over time today, but we don't really have that much more to do on the afternoon slate this afternoon. I wanted to watch a movie with you guys that's because I still have Disney Plus. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to cut it off or not, but I may keep it. What was it? It's a horror movie, and we might check that out, or maybe we'll just play some World of Warcraft. I don't know. It's a movie called Appendage. A young fashion designer's life spirals as her darkest inner thoughts manifest into something gruesome that won't stop growing. Yeah, something on her body is like an appendage that grows on her, and she pokes away at it or something. It's kind of gross, actually. I don't know if maybe we won't be able to watch that one. Let me see what the parents' guide say that. But I do want to watch more horror here in the next week because of Halloween coming around the corner. Um, Appendage, severe nudity, mid. Okay, but you're not telling me what the heck that is. Damn. Okay, so they didn't fill out their. Huh. Okay. Tis the season to be jump scared. Yeah. All right. There was one final story I did want to talk about. I forgot to put it in the notes there. Matthew Vaughn pitched a Superman trilogy before Man of Steel, but Warner Bros. Was not interested. Well, Matthew Vaughn, of course, did X-Men First Class, and he did the Kingsman series. That's up. And he's going to be currently next. His next movie that we'll be able to see is Argyle. So, Matthew Vaughn pitched a Superman trilogy, huh? Fascinating. They didn't want anything to do with him. Of course, yeah, he did the Kick-Ass movie as well. While speaking with Happy, Sad, Confused, Vaughn said this: Mark and I sat down and plotted out a 3-film trilogy, pitched it to Warner Bros. Before Man of Steel. We pitched how to do a trilogy of Superman movies, and Warner Bros. Said they weren't interested. That's as far as it went. Why? Why would you not be? See, that was under the old regime, right? Um, I never understood why we are not constantly making Superman movies. It's not a tough thing to crack. But James, you got to add in social commentary. We got to work with his conscience and his inner turmoil of being a god. It's like, no, good guy beats bad guy. That's all you need to do. It's that simple. But it's got to be saying something more on a grander scale. It's like, I don't know. He went on to say Donner nailed it. Wonder Woman worked very well because it was basically a Donner Superman film, but reimagined as Wonder Woman. I would have done a modern version of Donner. Our big ideas was that Krypton doesn't blow up. It does eventually. The dad was right, but he got his timing wrong. When Superman is grown up, suddenly there's a mass exodus and all hell breaks loose. That was our main. They were also trying to reinvent Superman. Why would Krypton blowing up is the whole reason why he was sent to Earth. So what the heck? He grows up on Krypton? What? That sounds. What the heck are you doing? I would have done a modern day version of Donner. Our big idea was that Krypton doesn't blow up. It does eventually. The dad was right, but he got his timing wrong. When Superman is grown up, suddenly there's a mass exodus and all hell breaks loose. So he leaves Krypton as a grown man? But then Jonathan and Martha Kent would be meaningless if he's a grown man. What? Uh, Having Superman grown up on Krypton before its destruction is quite different. Yes, yes. I don't know if that would have worked, dude. Taron Egerton as Lex Luthor. So he wants James Gunn to use Taron Egerton as Lex Luthor. I don't. He's a good actor. He'd be better as Lex Luthor. He'd be an amazing Lex Luthor. He shouldn't be Wolverine. I think. Well, yeah. There was that rumor that Taron Egerton is Wolverine. Uh, you got to really go back to the comic. Hugh is brilliant as Wolverine. Eh, I don't know. I'm glad that one almost. I'm glad that didn't come into fruition. Superman totally growing like that's an elseworld story, which would have been a curious study. But I don't know if you would have wanted that to be your trilogy kind of thing. But that's what I mean by yes, you should be making these Superman stories because that's an interesting idea. Now, that's not the main story that we would want to have going forward, but if you just made that as a side project kind of thing, perhaps as a uh, Michael B. Jordan Superman, J.J. Abrams, try out something like that. I don't know. Curious. Curious indeed. Matthew Vaughn also says he wants to reboot Star Wars. Yeah. Excuse me. Forgive me. Matthew Vaughn also wants to reboot Star Wars, and he'll never get his wish. But I would like to see Star Wars rebooted as well. I think it's time. Because what in a few years, when we get to 2027, that's 50 years, guys. It's time to reboot Star Wars. And here's what I would do right now. I would write out exactly. Well, obviously, you don't have to. You would alter the storylines enough so that you would give an audience a different take on it. But I would I would start with episode. Would you start with episode 4? I would start with episode 1. Retell it. Or maybe you start with episode 4. I don't know. Uh, because if you're going to start there, then people will be like, well, what happened to Anakin in the Clone Wars? Why aren't you showing us that stuff? Why aren't you doing that? Because we want to see all that stuff too. Um, we do. We'll change that up. Just change all of that up. Um, and you know who I would get after Millie Bobby Brown for Princess Leia. Do it now, for God's sakes. Yeah, that's what I would do. I love the original Jonathan Martha Kent story in Donner's movie. Me too, Hourglass. Such a loving parents and sad end for Jonathan. And that's what I didn't like about Man of Steel either. They tried to reinvent Superman with that. And that should have been like that was the bulk of what Donner's was, right? So that despite all of his powers and stuff, he couldn't save his old man. So then when he tries to turn back time, well he does turn back time, to save Lois in the end. He goes against his father's wishes. Um, Very interesting stuff psychologically there that could be reworked in a better way. I think for sure. Um, yeah, you've heard me rant about Man of Steel lots of times. It's not a superior film in any way. A lot of trailers came out recently. Second trailer for Saltburn dropped the other day, and I am interested in seeing Saltburn a lot. I am not a fan of the aspect ratio. I don't know what it like. Zack Snyder insisted on this aspect ratio for his Snyder cut, but it's kind of like, guys, you've got the lenses. You know what they've done here for these types of things? They took a lens and now they just cropped it so that they've got this aspect ratio. But James, that's the IMAX ratio. But we're going to watch Saltburn on IMAX, guys. Most people are going to watch it on this. For God's sakes. um, I want to watch it because of Jacob Elordi. Actually, in the second trailer here, you see a lot more of him. And you're talking, and we were just talking about Superman. There's aspects of him that he seems to be cut from the Kal-El cloth. That he just reeks. Archie Madekwe, um, Barry Keoghan. It's a sinister story, I think. It's like the family. Does that not look a little bit like Clark Kent there? Anyway, there's an aspect of the story where there's this rich family that lives at this Saltburn manor. He recruits Barry Keoghan to come in there and get, I guess, romanced into this family culture, integrated, where they're all kind of eccentric characters, and they just use them as a play toy kind of thing. So Barry Keoghan's being toyed with. Um, Ooh, who's this new person? I like you. I'm going to use you as a toy, kind of thing. Um, I'm looking forward to the performances. Um, and I guess they end up killing him in the end or something, or something weird happens in it. Carrie Mulligan looks weird in this. Yeah. Um, Saltburn. I am looking forward to it. Emerald Fennel. I may have to go to the Art House Theater to see this one, though, which is fine. A quick look at Poor Things, an extended look trailer. Yes, this is the one where Emma Stone plays like a Frankenstein thing, right? Um, yeah, and they use her for. She just goes out and tries to experience the world. Yorgos Lanthimos, guy who did The Lobster, did this. I'm looking forward to it. On this extended look, though, I got some doubt. I got a doubt watching the second trailer that perhaps he might be overextending this card of, oh, look at this eccentric story of this Frankenstein monster played by Emma Stone. She's doing quirky things. And perhaps that shtick, remember we just talked about shtick becoming schlock, might be overplaying itself a bit too much. It is funny, but I want to see, because of Yorgos's ability to marshal in darkness into his stories, like just look at Killing of a Sacred Deer, for God's sakes. Uh, I want to see that kind of tone and flavor work its way into this movie. And Emma Stone looks like she's doing, like, we just talked about Killers of the Flower Moon and performances. Just based on the trailers alone, it looks like Emma Stone is doing something different in here that looks like it could be possibly Best Actress worthy. And based on that alone, I will want to check out this. December 8th, Poor Things. Next! Walden, Emil Hirsch. I didn't watch this trailer, so I keyed it up. I forgot to watch it. What the heck is this about? Walden. Let me pull up the IMDb. Wait, was this supposed to come out in 2021? The heck? Sorry, my nose is dripping. I gotta. Always blow your nose after you sneeze, folks. Remember, I didn't that one time and I got sick? All right, Walden. There we go. Walden Dean, an assuming court stenographer, is in a small town when he discovers he is dying. He decides to extract revenge on criminals who escaped their prosecution. Well, that sounds like an interesting premise. Stenographer taking up arms for himself, huh? Emil Hirsch is a good actor. Into the Wild and Autopsy of Jane Doe. I want to say he was in Lone Survivor. Was he in Lone Survivor? So before he dies, he wants to take out revenge. Huh. Let me see if I can hear a bit of the trailer.
Not exactly a pedicure, but...
He's doing something different with his voice there, isn't he? Huh. Huh. Weird. When does that one come out? Completed. Doesn't say, huh? Doesn't say. Huh. Fascinating. Next. The Boys in the Boat. George Clooney directs, Joel Edgerton. About a rowing team. Based on the incredible true story. A feel-good story of a rowing team that makes good. Okay. I actually like rowing as an exercise. I like jumping on the old rowing machine. Man, when I first did it though, my triceps were killing. It's good cardio as well. And you'd be surprised how quickly you burn out too. Something about that seemed a little Disney-ish. George Clooney has had some success in the director's chair, but he's also been kind of like meh. Walden has a limited release November 10th. Oh, okay. Yeah, if it's a feel-good story around Christmas time, why not? As long as it's not like some undertone of like corruption underneath. I don't know. I'm not interested in that. The thing that struck me about the fantastic book was just how hard these guys were for their age, lumberjacking, living alone in a remote shack until they got to college. Well, good. Yeah, feel good story, right? I'm really stoked to see this. Joe Ranch was a friend, and I had the honor of singing at his memorial service. He was a fantastic guy. I hope the movie does him justice. Okay, well then, yeah, it sounds like the trailer worked for me. But as I said, it had that Disney quality to it. Clooney's been hit or miss, but as a director, what was it? Made Men, or the one that the guys that appraised all the war relics. That one wasn't all that good. Had a big cast, but it was a miss. Finally, the Godzilla -1 teaser spot, 14 seconds. We looked at this the other day. I want to watch this movie, obviously. Guys, you know that I am a Godzilla fan. Yeah. That's one of my most anticipated for November, and I will try to hunt down a copy or see it somehow. For sure. Because I'm a Godzilla fan. I grew up in that time, guys. I'm sorry. All right. That's all I got in the can. I'm really going over time today, but whatever. I don't think we need to take a look at film updates, do we? First look at Dev Patel in Rabbit Trap. Horror movie, huh? I think it's Rabbit Trap. Okay. Look up Dev Patel. Dev Patel's a good actor. I really like The Green Knight. I would like to watch The Green Knight with you guys, except it's got a lot of nudity in it. So it's like visually, it's It's a stunning film. And yes, he was really good in the wonderful story of Henry Sugar. We watched that together. Monkey Man. They don't have it listed for his IMDb, huh? Rabbit Trap, huh? Set in 1973, it follows married musicians Daphne and Darcy Davenport, who have relocated from London to an isolated cabin in Wales in order to complete their new record. Oh, okay, so it's about musicians. Well, I'm a musician, so I dig that. Cool, man. Donald Sutherland trending. Please no. Please no. Donald Sutherland, Jeff Goldblum, and Leonard Nimoy. Cool. Oh, he's getting an honorary Oscar and what? Having a stamp in Canada. Cool. You know, he's a great actor. Um, yeah, I was just worried that you get word of people's passings. Who was born in St. John, New Brunswick. He's getting his own stamp. Cool. I'd get a hold of that stamp. Next, the Persian version. Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon made 2.6 million on Thursday night previews. That's a bit low, guys. Remember, good Thursday night previews usually start off with about anything over 10 million. It's set to debut with a $20 to $30 million opening weekend. What was the budget? Because when it comes Monday, we're going to need to know what the budget is. And I think it's something outrageous. I think it's like 200 million plus for some reason. And that movie should not be that much. Yes, no. It's going to be a bomb. This movie should not be $200 million. And we'll end with this today. Because you're shooting, unless you built that town, which they didn't. You maybe built facades. What did you spend that money on? They spent a lot of time around a house. What did you spend that money on? Killers of the Flower Moon. $20 million opening. It's going to go down as one of the biggest bombs of the year. Because that $20 million opening is not going to go up, guys. It's going to go down. Because he's Scorsese, he was given $200 million to make that movie. Yes, he's a talented filmmaker. Yes, he is a legend. But there's no way I would ever. That's. He complains about Marvel movies being a problem with Hollywood. Well, I'm going to turn that mirror back on yourself, Scorsese. Look in the mirror. $200 million budget. That reeks of a big problem in Hollywood right now. These bloated budgets. And what? It's not as if it was a visually effects heavy movie here. You're not going to have CGI, what? Horses going down. What? Like, what was that money spent on? Ridiculous. Shame on you, Scorsese. Shame. 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 And that's where we end the show today. A little bit spicy, I know, but shame on you. All right, that's it. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. Subscribe, and we'll see how we do. I got to have my breakfast and then go out for my walk, and then we'll come back and we'll do some streaming. Maybe we'll just relax this afternoon and play some World of Warcraft. Who knows? I do want to watch Appendage, though. Enjoy your weekend!